Good evening and welcome to the Jon Gaunt podcast. Well, Keir Starmer, he is finished. He is toast. The most unpopular Prime Minister in the whole of British history, Labour's Prime Minister, has not only lost the country, today it now looks like he's lost his own party too. Around 80 Labour MPs are plotting to get rid of him, maybe in the next week or so, maybe even before the budget, but certainly before the local elections. One MP, he is a bit of a prat, it's got to be said, Clive Lewis, he's MP for Norwich, he's even willing to give up his own seat so that Andy Burnham, the mayor of Manchester, could become an MP and therefore be able to stand against Starmer. It's 80 is the critical number in the Labour Party to challenge. And it's to tribute sort of soft Labour grouping on the left. They are lefties who are doing this. I don't care who's doing it. I want Starmer out because next week's budget is going to be another nail in Keir Starmer's coffin. So the real question now isn't just whether Starmer can survive, it's also whether Labour, the party, the government itself can survive. Because you've got the Greens, I can't bear that Zach, the gap-toothed idiot, and you've got Reform with Nigel Farage surging. And voters are turning their backs in disgust at Labour. So join me now, have your say. Is Starmer toast? Is it curtains for Labour too? Are Reform ready? Is it going to end up in a general election, or will they just continue a bit like the Tories did, where they ended up with a lettuce in the end after Liz Truss? I want your views, and I want to tell you why I think Starmer is in this predicament. Well, it's mainly because he wrote a manifesto which was a complete tissue of lies. He's got elected under false pretenses. Everything he said, he's lied and's gone the other way, and this is coming back to haunt him. But I think it also ties in, and see whether you're with me on this. There's two other stories around today. There's the chairperson, I guess, of the police and crime commissioners. She's from some dopey bird from Cornwall. She's saying the flag of St. George is intimidating and needs to be taken down right across the country. But I think it's people like her and her attitude, and indeed Emily Thornberry or whatever her name was. I don't think people have ever forgotten that Labour are effectively against the country and certainly against the working class. They think, or people think, that they're not one of us. I mean, that was the great trick that Trump has pulled off. Multi-billionaire, but people think he's on their side. Even Tony Blair pulled that off. But Starmer, no chance whatsoever. And also, you see, tied in with that flag, people are saying, why are the flags up now? Well, it's because we're being invaded by the flip-flop warriors landing in Dover. Have you seen the reaction of the uber-liberal left, who are now making out if you don't want people coming in illegally, you're a racist, you're a fascist? When you're nothing like that at all. You probably believe in well-controlled immigration. What you don't believe in is a free-for-all. And it's not only the fact that these people are invading our country, it's the fact that Starmer and the whole of the political and mainstream media class, in which I definitely include the BBC, are giving away our country. Anything that is British or English, no, offload it straight away. They've betrayed us. And that's why people are saying, up yours. I'm putting the flag up. Up yours. I want you out, Starmer. He's so unpopular. You can't even begin to measure his unpopularity. And then this woman today, her name is Emily Surrell, police commissioner. She is now emphasizing that the flag, there's something wrong with our flag. These people are so disconnected to the mainstream thought of ordinary British people. I'm afraid we don't want our wives, our daughters, our children, our mums, our partners raped or sexually assaulted. There's another one today, 6 or 7 cases. That's what people are objecting to, let alone the amount of money that we're wasting every day on hotels. And Starmer has proved to not have a clue how to solve it. Look, there he is. Toast. He's definitely toast. And then yesterday, he didn't bother turning up, did he? When Shabina Mahmood was telling us her new way of dealing with the small boat crisis. He wasn't there. And I made the point in yesterday's podcast, he's been hiding ever since Mandelson was kicked out of being the ambassador because of his links to the chief nonce, the paedophile, Epstein. He's been hiding. He goes away, never hear Keir. He's always out of the country so that he doesn't have to answer difficult questions. Today, I was amazed that he was actually at Prime Minister's questions. There was no point in him being there because he doesn't answer any questions anyway. But what I thought was interesting, and this was before the 80 MPs came out of the woodwork, he didn't look very settled today. I thought he looked in a bad way. I don't care. I don't care. He deserves to be in a bad way. Because I've said before, and I'm going to say it again, he's a traitor. He's a traitor to the people of this country. But I think he's almost toast. And are you seeing this connection? There's our country. And of course, the great irony, the people who are putting up the flags, they're probably exactly the kind of blokes who fought for our freedom in 2 world wars. So he stands at the cenotaph and he sort of puts down a wreath and says we will remember them. But he hates them. He hates those people, those boys from Aldershot, etc. Do you see the point I'm making? Our indigenous culture, every other culture, has to be celebrated. And I haven't got a problem with that. But diversity never extends to white working class, and particularly white working class men in their mindset. So now what we're seeing, people have been saying this afternoon, oh, is it a coup? Well, it's a kind of coup by Labour members who know they're going to lose their jobs, so they may as well have a crack and get rid of him. But actually, it's a coup being led by the masses, by the people who are putting up the flags, by the women outside those hotels like the Bell Hotel in Epping, by the pink ladies. That's where the revolution is happening. That's where the coup is occurring. The people who keep getting arrested for daring to say what they think. Did you see last night, it was on GB News, about how now they're monitoring what you're writing, saying, or making videos of on social media? They've got a unit. It can't be long before I get the knock at the door and they want to see my hard drive. They can stick it up their arse, as far as I'm concerned. I'm in the Mike Graham camp when it comes to that. But that's what's happening. It's out of control. He can't control it. And I think he's the kind of spineless amoeba, blancmange, who will cut and run. I'm not saying he'll necessarily resign this weekend, but I don't think he'll put up much of a fight. He looked defeated today, in my opinion, in the Commons. Some of that swagger's gone, but He's off to South Africa. So maybe he's just hoping I'll get on the plane tomorrow, because I think it's Saturday and Sunday, this conference. So if he's going to South Africa, I know there's not much of a time difference, only a couple of hours. He'll probably go tomorrow evening, maybe Friday. No, probably tomorrow. So he's going to jet off and get away from it again. Every time the brown stuff hits the fan, Keir is never here. Can he survive? And also, let's move on to, is reform ready? Who in the Labour Party would you like in charge? Is it going to be Andy Burnham? Or do you want them all out? Imagine if this was to happen in the next few days. The economy will crash. We're in a very, very precarious position, brought about by Sir Keir Starmer and this bunch of teenagers, effectively, in their head, who he's got. We've got a chancellor who fiddles a CV and can't add up. Forget about Diane Abbott for a moment. We've got Louise Haigh. She got the bullet because she had a mobile phone off the company, lost it, then found it again, used it, and then the police arrested her. She's one of the people who they're saying could be the Prime Minister, along with Mahmood, right? Because she's tough, she's hard, certainly got bigger balls than Keir Starmer. And of course, then they're also saying Andy Burnham. And here's the worrying one. They're also saying Ed Miliband, even in a temporary capacity, because he's done the job before, not Prime Minister, but he's been leader of Labour. He was useless. The Bernie Winters of politics. Snorbits the dog would do a better job than him. If you like what I'm saying, please press the like button. Please reshare the stream. Please tell all your mates about what's happening. And if you're listening on a podcast, try and watch it next time or watch it later on repeat on Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube. And when you go there, it'll ask you, do you want to subscribe? Press yes. Doesn't cost any money. It means you'll always know when I'm going to do a show. So that's what I want to talk about tonight. Have you got an opinion? You must have. Who should we have instead of Starmer? Where do we go from here? Has he buggered it up? And that's using the polite term. So much that we can't recover. Is he toast? Is it curtains for Labour as well? And look at the way now, like rats deserting a sinking ship, they're all going to start now crapping on each other. They don't care. They don't care about us, the people. Because if they did, when Kemi Badenoch, the day before yesterday, said, look, we'll support you on a lot of this, they'd have taken them up on it. But no, they want to bitch about each other, Labour and Conservative. Now, if you don't believe that they've got their backs against the wall, is that right, Keir? You got your back against the wall. That's unusual. But let me tell you something. They are petrified. They and their chummy mates in the mainstream, lamestream media. There's an attack going on, led by The Guardian and the Daily Mirror, on Farage. I read it this morning. It's all over the papers. Farage is an anti-Semite. Farage sang a song about the gas chambers. So Farage did this, Farage did that. And then you'll read the story. He was 13 years old when these allegations of what he did. They're saying he did this, and it's very small print. He was 13. Now, he denies it all, and I don't know. And personally, I don't give a shit. Because you cannot, surely to God, crucify somebody for what they thought at 13 or 14, even if it is abhorrent. I don't like the things they're alleging he did, but can I, hand on heart, say I never said things like that or as gross as that when I was a spotty teenager masturbating for Britain as I hit puberty? Sorry to be rude, but you understand where I'm coming from. All the hormones are going bonkers. Fancy attacking him now. And why is this guy who said he's a filmmaker, Labour lovey. Why is he only remembered about it now? Doesn't make sense, does it? And then there's a woman called Pippa Carrera or something. She used to be on The Mirror. I think she still is. I think she's one of the editors or something. She's now on The Guardian. I'll tell you what other program, because of course these people all feed off each other. She's also on that program on ITV with Peston, Robert Peston, who's fucking useless as well. She's like his political summariser. She's been laying into Farage all day. Because do you know why? They are seriously concerned. Starmer's going to go. There might be a couple of idiots who look after it for a while, then the lettuce, and then they know there'll be an election. And they know that Nigel Farage will be the next Prime Minister. And they are literally bricking themselves. All of their cosy little games. Oh, shall we meet in such and such? Oh, let's go to Islington. Let's go skinny dipping. It's just all of it will collapse in on itself. So now they try, and that's why, if you're wondering why Zach Gaptooth Twat is getting so much publicity, the Green Party, it's again to undermine Farage and reform. It's a conspiracy. If you actually listen to what Zach says, it's complete and utter rubbish. It even makes the socialist worker of 20 years ago seem logical in their arguments. It's all eat the rich, take the money off the rich. Have you heard that? Have you actually sat and listened to what he says? Sounds great. If I was still in the sixth form, tax the rich, take the money off them, 7% of the population own 84% of the land. There used to be a theatre company called that. But it's that kind of thick, simplistic, route one form of politics. And suddenly he's been heralded as the new voice in politics. It's only because it suits their agenda. They've got their backs against the wall. We've got a chance here, we, the ordinary people, to restore Britain to its greatness. And we're going to have to do it without them. Or by helping Nigel. Do you understand where I'm coming from here? This is what's tied in. The flags are tied into this. Everything is tied into this. They are bricking it. They've got a cozy little atmosphere. They never expected Starmer to collapse so dramatically. It's a complete failed experiment. We can't allow it to continue, can we? How can we? They'll wreck the economy. Next week, the markets will go bonkers with this budget. She's painted herself into a corner. She makes Diane Abbott look like she's the Krypton Factor winner 15 times over. That's what's going on. So bring it on, you 80 militant lefties in Labour. Put up somebody against him. Let's get him out. I don't think he's got the spine for a fight anyway. And then maybe, just maybe, we can all put our flags up, put the bunting up, and dance on the political grave of Keir Starmer. I want your views and I want your opinions. Let's get going. And if you want to donate, come on, that's worth a donation. Click on the $ and donate whatever you can. Or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. Keir Starmer knows he's finished. This one came in even before it started from Laura. He knows he's finished, and Keir Starmer knows he is totally and definitely toast. Keir Starmer knows it's done and dusted now from Laura. She also says, get him right out now and get him out immediately. She's well wound up. He's a total waste of space, and he's an unfit leader and unfit Prime Minister. And in my constituency, he needs to go ASP. I think. I can't argue with him. I can't argue with him. Craig says, hi, John. Hope you and your family are well. The family are fine. Thank you very much indeed. Sorry I wasn't here last night live at the normal time. I had to look after a mate of mine. Ronnie Hurst, reform as soon as possible. We need a general election, not just a replacement for Starmer. I think I'm probably in your camp there, Ronnie. What we got next? Craig says, I totally agree with you. He's on YouTube. Ronnie says, it's only Ronnie. It's the Ronnie and Craig show at the moment. Come on, let's have some other people. I have Muslim friends. They even say that illegals are not welcome, that it's not good for the country. Yes, I know. And that's what annoys me, because they like to paint it that it's just white fellas, white people who are against these illegals. I've got friends from different backgrounds. I've got friends whose parents were on the Windrush or whatever. Yeah, I have. And they're the same. They don't want people getting in, taking the piss, getting in illegally. They don't. They came here and they've worked their socks off and they've contributed to make Britain what it is. We've got thousands, tens of thousands of flip-flop warriors. What is Starmer up to? He's got to go. Are you with me or against me? Stuart Lowe says, if you don't like our flag, then pee off. Well, I agree with that. That's how we should be. There's nothing wrong with our flag. But the reason people are putting up so many flags is because of you, Starmer. They're dissatisfied with you because you're not listening to them. All this nonsense with Zelensky, the whole British public are behind you. No, they're not. In fact, nobody's behind you, Starmer, in my opinion. You may disagree. Nigel Gordon, he ain't toast. No one wants the job of PM. That's a very good point. Don't blame them. Labour are history. Yeah, who would want that job? Well, in the end, what you got to realise about politicians, they're all thick and they're all absolute egomaniacs. So they would all love to be in that position, even if they know it was going to crash and burn. Taxi driver 2107 on YouTube. Good evening, John. Good evening. Let's go to the next one. Jon Gaunt, you're a bacon lad. No wonder you got banned from radio. No one likes bacons. And then he's got a rude name and he thinks I'm going to read it out. No, I'm not, you absolute moron. I tell you what I am going to do, though. Bye. Bye. Let's move on to some sensible people if we can, please. Starmer needs to be charged for treason, says Sonia 11328. I think you're right. There are far more important issues than flags. Our country is being destroyed by Labour every way it can be, says Pam Millett. Yes, Pam, but the point I'm trying to make is that the flags are part of the equation of why we all hate, well, the majority of people hate Starmer. He's never got the flag. He doesn't get being British. He isn't a patriot, even though he pretends he is. He isn't. Never forget Emily Thornberry when she went down, looked down her snooty nose when people were putting up the flag of St. George. Gary Spencer says, hi, John. Then he says, hope he stays in South Africa. Thank you very much indeed. I wouldn't inflict him on any country. Look, I can't just keep reading out stuff from you, Craig, and you, Ronnie Hurst, yeah? You're being unfair. If you want to write a long one, but just to keep writing 2 lines, it's not a popularity contest. Do you understand what I'm saying? Consider what you want to say and then say it. But I won't be reading out any more of yours today because I just feel you're trying to dominate and that's not fair. Maureen Kelly, Ed Silliban. Oh, my God. None of them. Well, it's going to be one of them. It could be Angela Rayner. It could be Miliband. It could be Andy Burnham. I think he's got the best chance. Although I don't think he'll necessarily do a good job, you know. Who else is there? Lammy? Would Lammy put himself up for it? Remember what I said about ego? You'd never know. Dan Spinks, John, you say a lot of my thoughts. You must be psychic. Well, I don't know about psychic, Dan. I just think I'm in tune with ordinary people. The Chip Man, thank you for your support, but don't mention that idiot. Ignore him. I've blocked him now, so he's gone. So don't bother doing it. I take it as a compliment. Now, what's happened is my silly little trolls have come back out from under their stones because the show is getting popular. Oh, well, such is life. Ed Miliband as MPM, says taxi driver. You're having a laugh. Get Ben Habib as our PM. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but it ain't going to happen. Either of those things, is it? It's just not going to happen. Ben Habib has not got a full political party yet. He's well behind. Even Farage, if there was suddenly an election, Farage would be stretched. He'd probably get voted in because, again, people are so absolutely fed up to the back teeth of Starmer and Labour. But that wouldn't necessarily get you what you want. Do you understand where I'm coming from here? And Ben Habib, no chance. Nice fella, I interviewed him, but I can't see. It won't happen. It's not going to happen. We've got to have a realistic conversation, guys. Come on. Jackie Ward, if Ed Miliband became leader, it would be the end of this once great country. Well, he's trying to make it the end of the country for with him out even being the leader, isn't he? He's an idiot. David KT, it doesn't matter anymore. It'll be the same old magic roundabout again. I know where you're coming from, David. I really do know where you're coming from. But the problem is, if you're too cynical, if you have no hope, how do we change? We may as well just completely let every flip-flop warrior in and say, on you go. Surely this country is worth fighting for. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. Paul Rowbottom, the full front bench should go. This is Labour. They're no longer Labour. They're out and out commies. Well, it's funny you should say that because there'll be a lot of people in Labour who say they're not socialists anymore. Not that they're commies, but they're too conservative. You know, look at the backbencher rebellion, which is sparked now. What's going to happen to Starmer might be the final nail. That's all because they think that's too strict. You know, daring to say to people, you will have a medical if you want to live here. We will know who you are. You're not coming in if you haven't got a passport or identity. Oh, that's all fascist. Because that's tied in with this thing about Nigel Farage. I want to take some views on that, please. Nigel Farage is in all the papers. And they're saying that basically he's a racist, he's this, he's that. And then you actually look, these allegations are from when he was a kid, a 13-year-old. Just nonsense. It's just unfair. It's just wrong. And anyway, I would have thought there's plenty of other things you could pick on if you wanted to attack Farage. But they are panicking. Maggie Young, ITV Central did a report on Birmingham women petrified to go out on their own. I didn't see that, Maggie. Thank you for telling me. They plan their journeys all day, and every day they're scared to go out on their own. That's terrible. ITV Central asked the Home Office to reply to their concerns or worries. There was no reply from the Home Office. It's not just Birmingham. Women are petrified. It's every city in the country. Maggie, that's a brilliant point you're making. Thank you for making it. And you know what's bad about that, Maggie? There shouldn't be anywhere in the country where you feel that. Should there? And if you know, that's what gets me with Labour. They're all into equality and diversity and all that, but not the protection of our women and our children. Classic today, he took it down. I don't know, it wasn't not for long. Starmer did one of his little pathetic videos today, because you know today's International Man Day or something. But he did one where he was talking about who his heroes were, and of course, him, it would be his dad, wouldn't it? But he was also talking about he had a fractured relationship with his dad, but that he's tried to, with his son, have a real in-depth, and it went on and on and on. It was like, oh, pass me the vomit bucket, right? Nice that you think that about your son, Sir Keir. But why are you telling us in a video? Is it to somehow make you look like you're the perfect dad? We'll find out about that soon. You still haven't answered the question, why was your perfect son revising in Lord Ali's £18 million penthouse in Covent Garden after the A-levels had finished? Maybe it's a mix-up. I don't know. But that's a question, isn't it? Or why did Lord Ali buy you suits? Why did your house get attacked? We'll find out that in the trial coming up soon. There's so much we don't know about you, Sir Keir. But don't give me a lecture on being a dad. I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. Anybody going to donate any cash tonight? You're very slow off the blocks. If you'd like to, go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt or click the little $sign and just give whatever you can afford. We need to keep these podcasts going. Terry Wheatley, we now have a woman called Emily Spurrell. Yeah, that's the woman who's the police commissioner. He says she's the police commissioner department. And she was elected, basically, Terry. There's the truth. Saying that flags are intimidating. My late father was a serving police officer. He'd be horrified. I support our police, but misfits like her should be removed. You're making the classic mistake there. GB News did the same thing. They said a top cop. She is not a copper. She got elected as a police and crime commissioner. She is not a police officer, right? No police background whatsoever. And I would imagine most rank and file police officers think she's a, right? How can our flag be intimidating? What they should be asking is, why are people putting these flags up? Why are people saying they want to vote for, let's be fair, untried and untested reform? Well, I guess because they think they can't be any worse than the Uni Party, the idiots that have been in power forever, the people who are selling our country out, the people who didn't want to abide by the result of the biggest democratic vote in our country's history, Brexit. Oh, no. They're dead set against all that. This is where this is coming from. People are mightily pissed off. And what's happened is Keir Starmer has come to epitomise that, hasn't he? The human rights lawyer who uses our money in a court case to come to the conclusion that the women of Epping are less important, their concerns, than some bloke who's just got out of a dinghy at Dover in his designer tracksuit, his flip-flops and his mobile phone. That's why people are angry. That's why people are saying we don't want this anymore. And that is why you've now got a powder keg. It's the same people, Sir Keir, that you said were far-right thugs after Southport. Now there's some very interesting things coming out about Southport, about that monster and his family, aren't there? And many people went to prison who perhaps, Sir Keir, I would humbly suggest, shouldn't have done. You're the problem. Anyway, Pamela Millett, all of Labour out. I personally have had enough of watching my country being destroyed by these useless morons. We've gone past crisis point with illegal immigrants, and it's getting even worse. Can't argue with you. Terry's got a blank spot there. Don't know what that's about. Jackie Ward. No, Claire Wood says Jackie Ward nearly is now not far to go for Ed. I don't know what that means. Sorry. My lefty neighbours is still complaining about the Union flags in my streets. Well, they are idiots, my friend. My friend. Complete idiots. Where are we going next? Craig says, John, if Starmer goes, what do you think will happen? I think there'll be a succession of idiots who tried. Sorry. What do you think will happen with the digital ID? I think they'll drop it because that's Starmer's project. But there's all the other stuff. If it's Ed Miliband, they're not going to drop any of the green net zero bollocks, are they? Yeah. Who else is there? Trevor Lammy, he'll be giving all our money away in reparations to people who were once slaves. Angela Rayner, she'll be putting all the money in a massive housing estate for herself. I don't know. It's just, I'll just give up. Makes you want to give up. Jon Gaunt for PM, says Claire Ward. You've got taste, Claire. Thank you very much indeed. The only people escaping a dystopian, demonic, communist Muslim country are the 20,000 millionaires who fled Great Britain. Did you see that? There's a massive statistic. Not all millionaires, but lots of people have actually left Britain. They've had enough. Darren Valsatis. Have I missed something? Can you please explain? No. Turn up on time next time and you might find out. Darren Cummings, all together now. Keir Starmer's out. We won't say that word. A winker, I think he means. Keir Starmer's evening, John. Thank you, my friend. It depends what you think we are. I don't know. Some people are just... You can't just say something that is a non sequitur. You've got to actually make a point if you're going to bother commenting. Taxi driver says Starmer is the problem. Well, we kind of know that. Starmer is the worst PM in British history, says Alien Intelligence Agency. You're not going to get an argument with me on that one. Loads of likes, 34. It's good, but no donations. How am I meant to live and develop these podcasts? Come on. Donate a few quid. I could be wrong, but I doubt many of the punks in the 70s who adorn themselves with Nazi or regalia were paid up National Socialists. It wasn't my can of McEwen's, but it was all about the shock value. Yeah, it was. In fact, that was a very short-lived thing within the punk movement. You know, the leather jackets and the Nazi insignia and Susie Sue and people like that. Then it went. It went. And we don't ever want to return to that. I agree with you. But I just do not understand this thing of attacking Nigel Farage for unpleasant things he said when he was 13. How many unpleasant things did you say and did you do, keep it clean, when you were 13? It's nonsense. But it's typical. The Guardian are attacking him about that. And most normal people like you and I go, he was 13. Leave it out. Forget it. Move on. They're frightened. They are absolutely frightened of what is happening at the moment. All right, let's move on. Rafik Ali. These people are wrecking the country. Wrecking the country, is it? My nan and granddad came from Bangladesh in the 1930s. They came on a plane with all the paperwork. They worked straight away in a cotton factory in Manchester. They lived in a bedsit for 5 years, and they saved all their money up to buy a house. And in them times, for an Asian person to buy a house, it was very odd. I never had naked teleport the house. Don't know what that bit means. And they waited 5 years. And then my dad, my 4 uncles, 2 aunties were born, and my dad was in the... And it stops. It's a shame that, because it was interesting. And you kind of were making the point that I was making, which is by supporting these people who are illegal, who are criminals, you're kind of being racist to all the decent people who have come here and helped build our country. Pete Woods has done half a sentence. It depends who you think a flag represents. What depends? The flag represents all of us. I don't even think there should be a debate about the flag. I think it's ludicrous. I think it's pathetic. The Russian incursion in our waters needs to be stopped by military force if warnings aren't heeded. Perhaps, Terry, but do you ever wonder whether there's a little bit of distraction going on? It's like the Chinese story. I'm sure the Chinese are spying us. I made a podcast about this over a year ago. We bought everything from China. I said at the time, what if our stereos in our cars are actually transferring information back? And they've told everyone today, anybody who's got a military connection, don't talk about anything sensitive if you're in a car. I told you the story about when I bought my big house and I bought 2 DVD players. They both broke down on the same day. They had built-in obsolescence. So you're not telling me that the Chinese, if it is the Chinese, couldn't be listening to us? How many times have you seen adverts on your phone, on Facebook and stuff? You've never bought the stuff, never been in whatever supermarket it is, and suddenly you're getting inundated. They're listening. But I also, just a little word of caution, how much of this is distraction? Russia is a threat. China is a threat. Of course it is. But this thing about this Russian ship at the moment, I don't think I'm going to get too worked up about it too soon. I'm more worried about the enemy within, our government. I do think our government, this is me going to get locked up. I do believe our government are becoming the enemy of ordinary, decent, working people. You don't want any of them really, but we're not being racist. They're thinking about our country and thinking about our women, our kids, innocent people walking down the street, getting stabbed, going on a train, going on a bus, just walking around. We're just thinking about our people. And that's Rafiq Ali has written that. I wish more Guardian readers would listen to you, Rafiq, because you are a decent Brit, and that's what we want. It doesn't matter who leads Labour. They're all toast. Thank you very much indeed. Hold on a minute. I'll leave that there. I'm going to look at that in a minute, but I would just advise, do not attack my daughters or my family. That's always a big mistake. I think that's what you're trying to do there. I'm not sure what that means. Right. Anyway, move on. None of them believe we're too weak to defend ourselves from Russia and China. Yeah, what a state we've got in. Hi, John. Elvin Stardust should lead the revolution in the Labour Party. Coup. I don't want you. Yeah, very good. Nice one, Niven. Nice one. Very nice indeed. Denise Deacon. Who didn't say stupid things at 13? She's talking about Nigel Farage. I can't believe the media are even entertaining this nonsense. No, nor can I. Just garbage. But they're doing it to put him down. They're scared. I'm reformed, but I'm afraid whether they could run a government. I don't think so. As it's Labour or Conservative and Lib Dems aren't good enough to run our country, how can they? Well, that's kind of what I've been saying, Nigel. Thank you. Den Spinks, Keir wants you to play the violin for him, John, with his sob story about his son. Starmer's son was in Ali's box room. No. Please don't make jokes like that. You have got no knowledge at all. And if you want to make that joke, hula hoop, you do it on your own feed. Don't do it on mine. Darren Van Velsatis, have you got a pension, John? Mind your own fucking business. Alien Intelligence Agency. I was driving through London. I saw a sign that said England, 50 miles. Very funny. Where are we going next? I'm ex-army, says Stuart Lowe. My pension works out less than these immigrants are getting. Near enough. That's because they look after them rather than you. Somebody must have some real dirt on Starmer from his college or uni days. He's keeping quiet about some things in his past. Well, maybe it could be embarrassing if it got out. Well, maybe, but maybe not. Maybe he's just got no personality. I don't know. Where are we going next? David Katie. I heard today that we have said that we would be unable to defend ourselves if attacked. Yeah, that was on the news. I kind of let that go over me. So I thought, more nonsense. But anyway, this is the result of decades of deliberate cuts since after 1982 in the Falklands and 91 after the Gulf War, when I lost my job after 14 years. I think there's some truth in that as well. Hoopla hoo-ha, whatever your name is. You don't listen to what I'm saying, do you? The allegation you just made about the Ukrainians, you can't possibly know whether that's true or not. Huh? Please don't. The Labour Council in Medway have spent thousands of pounds taking our flags down because it was upsetting certain people from different backgrounds and countries. Nice way for the council to increase costs for your council tax next year. Well, I don't know the facts of that, but I understand where you're coming from. All mobile phones are listening and taking pictures. Everyone's TV is listening. I don't think you're far off the mark there, Pam. Thank you very much indeed. Darren, could you please explain how the government would be the enemy within? Are they asking you for too much tax? Darren, if you don't like my show, I don't care. But I'm not going to entertain your ridiculous, stupid ideas. Okay. That bearded idiot, is he still on the radio on LBC? James O'Brien? Go and listen to him. General election now. They've all got to go, says Pete Dawson. And Musical Man Guitar, I really don't care about Starmer's private life. It's his professional life that's the disaster for us. Well, I think that's where I'm coming from. I think I'm with you on that. Thank you very much indeed for your comments. Right, I've run out of time. EastEnders is going to be on in a minute. Thank you. I'm busy. Thank you very much for joining in, and I'll be back tomorrow at 6:30. So if you can join in then, that'll be great. Don't forget, if you want to make a donation, dead simple, go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt, or click the little $sign there. I can go now because Maggie Young says, what do you think about the baggy score next Saturday? I don't like the fact it's on at 12 o'clock, Maggie, but I think it'll be 2-1 to the City. Jackie Ward, she's given me the 3 red hearts. And Craig says, thank you, John. Take care. I will. Thank you for watching tonight. If you've been listening on a podcast, go to Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube. That's the best way to follow me. You get all the information there. You see all the archive. And if you want to donate, you know what to do. Right. See you again tomorrow at 6:30. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya.